guys, Nick Drossos. So this week on Fit Over 40, I got Tracy Satov, registered dietitian. What's the difference between nutritionist and dietitian? Is there a difference?
There is. So once you're a registered dietitian, you have to do certain kind of schooling. You have to make sure that you keep up your credentials every so often, where a nutritionist, you can go and just get a diploma from like just a college that's around here, like a community college, and just go ahead and become a nutritionist if you take a course. But to become registered and to call yourself a licensed nutritionist or a registered dietitian, you actually have to keep up your credentials and do a stage and everything that has to be associated with that.
How many years of school did you do on this? And I want to ask you that question and then tell you why.
So I actually have a master's in science, so I didn't have to do that route, but I've done 3 years. I did a master's in science, and then I did a stage also. I trained in New York, so my master's in science is from NYU. And then afterwards, I worked in a hospital for a year and a half, and then I got also clinical experience just working there once I was able to graduate and have my license.
So the reason why I asked you this question, because I've been a trainer for over 20 years. And yes, I've tried all the diets. I've done the 7 meals a day. I've been vegan, vegetarian. I've tried the keto. I'm into the intermittent fasting, and I kind of have my own regiment that I'm following right now. But we see a lot of trainers out there who are playing the nutritionist, dietitian, giving meal plans. And I could do it, and I've done it. I don't like doing it. One of the reasons why, because I believe that everybody has their own expertise and their specialty, and I always stay in your lane. I could give it to somebody who's maybe healthy and give them a little bit of the guidelines I use. But overall, I always like to say, you know what? I'm the trainer. I've studied years in doing martial arts, self-defense, Krav Maga, strength training, all my certificates. And yes, I know the nutrition, but I always like to bring them to the expert and the professional who does that. So how do you feel about, I'm asking you this question because right now, this industry is full of people who are playing trainers and nutritionists. And what do you think of that? And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring somebody who's just expert in that field. What do you think of that when you see trainers do that?
Well, it depends. Like, there's certain things, for an example, that I think are, you would never go see, if something's wrong with your car, you're going to a mechanic, something's wrong, you want to go see a doctor. So everyone does exactly what you say of going to specific specialties or as a person who's into that career. But you see, when it comes to training and nutrition, it differs more so than it does with health and nutrition. Like if somebody has diabetes or celiac or, that is 100% something.
Which is so common today.
Well, everybody, that's right. And really nutrition does affect everybody in health, in any disease states, in cancers and heart disease. So really nutrition, I believe, can help everybody. When it comes specifically to training, this is where you're really manipulating your body. So I can tell you, with the nutritious of how much you actually need, but it would be also in the trainer's hands because how many calories this person's exuding. You can see how hard they're training. I could tell you based on what you guys do, what is supposed to be the recommended amount that you're supposed to have for all your vitamins and nutrients. The problem sometimes though is that, trainers don't know all the nutrients that you need. They could tell you fat, protein, and carbs, the macronutrients, but what about all the other vitamins that we need, And if you're building or if you're cutting and you don't have all the fruits and vegetables, well, how are you going to get all those vitamins? And do you need supplements? Do you need protein powder? These are all sort of questions that relate to your training, but yet specifically you want somebody who's going to explain to you what the effects, what food has on your body and why.
I think it's amazing. And I think part of the series I want to do in this Fit Over 40, and I want you to be a part of it, is I want you to, I really want to focus on the training, the mobility, flexibility, strength, all the benefits. And I want, part of the thing is I want you to come in and educate us as much as possible in terms of, I've taken creatine, right? Mm-hmm. I took it back then when I was in my 20s. I got bloated. I didn't even know what I was doing because back then you had the guy in the gym selling you stuff, telling you, hey, bro, take your creatine. Don't worry, you're going to get big. and you're overloading your system. I don't even know if they still do that. And we used to have
Mm-hmm.
to load the system for a week. And I remember, don't mix it with cranberry juice, mix it with grape. I don't know, there's all these things. I just basically was educating myself with other guys in the gym who were doing it. And I kind of see the effects later on, because I see some of these guys who are like, they're either out of shape and they've damaged their body through either taking steroids or too many supplements, or because sometimes people don't know that, yeah, taking too much of one thing could be as damaging as not taking enough of it. And I think it's finding that balance. So, stuff like some of the topics I want to cover are, taking creatine, or what is the proper and best protein to take? How should you mix it up? What is the best pre-workout, post-workout? And I think that part of this series is exactly things like that. So the people who are watching right now, I want them to write us the comments and the questions they have, so we can make future videos on that. So what is your take on all of this as I'm talking to you now about this?
So because we eat, because our diets and portion sizes are really, really big, I think we eat more, and I think we have more nutrients in our diet than we actually give ourselves credit for. With that said, though, it's also excessively, right? Because our portions, we don't need as much as well. So I don't find a lot of us are lacking certain things. In fact, I find that it's the proportions that don't work as well. And what you were saying before, it's interesting because as you who played with your own body, you'll know when you don't have enough carbs or you don't have enough stamina. You know that when you have too much, you feel sluggish. You played with your body. So what's lovely about nutrition and training and the combination is you can actually see the effects, which is why nutrition is so lovely, because you actually get to see, you realize if I ate whatever I choose to eat before workout, I have more energy. If I miss my morning snack, I don't. If I play with the high protein breakfast, the carbohydrate snack, I'm realizing that I do get that energy from that snack, but I'm still sustained my hunger and I'm satisfied because of my protein filled breakfast that I had earlier, but not that, heavy feeling that I get sometimes when I eat a high protein, or if there's some fat in your diet as well. So it's really interesting to see how much you can play with it. So I'm not a big proponent of supplements or shakes or bars. I do believe in the convenience, though, of these things, meaning it's you running out, you have things to do, you grab a shake that has protein. I'm cool with that. That's cool. That's timing. That's life. What I'm not cool with is someone who adds the extra protein and thinking that, if I add the extra scoops of protein, I'm going to build that extra muscle. In that sense, I don't believe in supplementation, because I don't think you'll get anywhere by just adding extra protein or creatine or any of the such. I always believe it's a well-balanced diet. You do need more calories in all the macronutrients when you're training harder. But the question is, how much do we really train? Like, if it's above an hour, do I really need that extra protein? Do I really need all those extra carbs? What are my training, goals? Am I trying to lose weight? Am I trying to bulk up? Am I just trying to have energy? So this is where nutrition comes in, and you can play with it, because all these foods have, all these goals have a different prescription. Right? Like, what I want to do for this goal is different than the guy, who has I just want more energy and feel good versus, somebody else is just like, I'm finding when I work out 2 hours, I feel sluggish. What should I eat before?
I think it's interesting, because I think that a lot of this, and as a trainer, before I introduce anything to my clients, I test it out.
Yeah.
Once, and I say sometimes what works for me might not work for you. And I've done, at one point I went vegan, and it was weird. So I felt tired. My energy was down. Some people told me, you didn't do it long enough. I think I was for 8 weeks I did it, or 10 weeks or whatever it was. And then I just started eating some meat again. I don't know if it's in my head, but I just felt so.
Right. So the thing is, though, is that when you do switch to vegan or vegetarian, it's all about the combinations of foods. So you could be feeling not enough energy because, not all vegetarian foods are a complete protein that has all your amino acids, whereas a piece of meat has all your complete proteins. But when you're eating specifically a vegetarian diet and training is hard, now you have to pay more attention to your diet, because you have to make sure that you're getting the combination foods of incorporating soy, lentil, nuts, all these other vegetarian protein sources. Whereas when you're a carnivore, you eat the piece of meat, you have everything, and you're good to go.
which is interesting because it's another topic I want to talk about. Vegetarian, vegan, keto diet.
Of course.
I had somebody who did keto diet, and they lost like a lot of weight, and they were not able to sustain it. They gained it all back. So I think it's also one thing I always tell my clients about lifestyle, right? Same thing with intermittent fasting. Right now, I train early in the mornings and I train on an empty stomach. People are like, how do you have the energy? For me, for some reason, in the morning with no food, I feel the lightest. I feel I don't know why, just as strong as I would if I ate and I trained 2 hours later. So, I mean, I wonder if there's a placebo effect, if you want to say it, or it's a matter of getting used to something and then being able to ride on it. But for me right now, I'm running on that train, and it's working really well for me.
Right. So I think that has to do with everybody's cycle. You know, everybody's different and what works better for them in the morning versus the night idea of working out. You know, in theory, what you're saying shouldn't work. In theory, it should be you need that fruit to get that extra glycogen, that extra sugar to give you the energy for your workouts. But like everybody is, that's the thing, everybody is different. You know, I too can work out maybe on a small workouts, you know, not eating anything, but I can't last all morning without eating. Like I can never do intermittent fasting. No chance.
It's interesting, right? Because again, if you guys are watching this video, we're just touching on a little things. It's our first one together, but we'll be doing many more. And we want to talk about the little topics, just to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what we're going to be talking about. And then we want to go into just, you know, keto diet or intermittent fasting, whatever it is. And you're right about that in terms of, I've seen people that I do my intermittent fasting. I feel great with it. I've had clients tell me I can't do it. They need to eat. They feel tired. Their energy's low. And sometimes I'm like, give it a try, and it doesn't work for them. And I know others that instantly they felt the difference. So I really think it's like you said, it's different for everybody, as well as what people tend to neglect the most. It's your day-to-day lifestyle as well. Like, what do you do for a living? Are you a construction worker? Are you sitting at an office? You know, your medical health. Do you sleep well? Are you stressed? Are you on, you know, so many people are on anxiety and depression pills, and how does that affect as well your mental and physical health, which I think is a great topic for us to cover as well in the future.
Of course. It's so true what you say. Everybody is different, everybody's lifestyle, but you really that's the key thing, I believe. And I'm a preacher of everyday nutrition. You know, I think nutrition should fit your lifestyle. I think it should always be, I never want to prescribe a diet to anybody if it's not going to work for them. I can't say you have to become vegetarian when they're like, Tracy, the thought of half these foods isn't something that I want to eat, or I can't sustain on it, or same regard, you know, I can't tell somebody who's a vegetarian to all of a sudden start eating meat when they don't want to do it either. So it really is about nutrition, lifestyle, realistic goals, you know. That's the key thing, because a lot of people say, I want to lose weight fast, but yeah, you can, but then you're going to go ahead for sure, you know, and gain it all back.
Realistic goals. Like, I mean, people tend to forget that, especially in an industry that everything is like fast now, lose 50 pounds in 60 days, just crazy amount of numbers they just throw out there, and people want the quick fix. But with the quick fix is also a higher chance of you crashing, of you playing and yo-yoing your body from high to low. And at the end, you're always going to be gaining weight when you do that. And I've seen that through my 20 years of training, where people gain and lose. But when they do that, in the long run, the scale is always going up, because you're playing with your body, and then you're starving it, you're feeding it. So it's always a bad combination. And I always tell people, you know, I can't promise you the results this guy's doing, but I could promise you slow results, but long-term, long-lasting results. So I think that's also a great topic that we could talk about for sure.
Definitely, especially in this day and age of everyone wants quick fix, constantly has to be entertained. So we constantly have to find something, you know, we want something to happen right away, and it's hard. But, you know, once you start, but this is where I think 80% of it is nutrition, right? I'll say to you, you know, if you're eating the right kinds of food, even if the scale's not changing or you don't see it in your actual pants or clothes within the first few days, your energy's better. You feel better. But if you're eating, not such good food, then of course you're not going to have the energy. You're not going to feel good, and there's going to be no change. But I think the nutrition has so much to do with it that you could start feeling better. Even if you don't see the immediate results, you're going to feel that you have some, which is so important, especially in today.
Tracy, that's awesome. So guys, if you're watching this video right now, leave us in the comment box. What are some of the topics you want us to talk about? Whether it's, protein shakes, vitamins, intermittent fasting, keto diet, vegetarian, how to lean down, bulk up. So put them in the comment box, and me and Tracy will go through them, and we'll make videos. We'll be posting videos regularly. If we can, weekly, every 2 weeks for sure. Tracy, I'd like to get you on so we could make
I'm in.
Video. And again, guys, we're going to give you guys the best information we can. Tracy, where could people find you if they have any questions?
You can go to my website, tracysatovnutrition.com. You can look me up on Facebook, on Instagram, tracysatovnutrition.com, and you can find me there.
Awesome, guys. Tracy, thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to starting this Fit Over 40.
Love it. Do I have to be over 40 though?